Guys from Seaside. Man, great job. That's Bob Mathis leading the pack on that saxophone for almost 30 years. That is Max on the Paul Lloyd Warner Busendorfer piano, and that is Paul on those skins and Harley there on that bass. Nice job, guys. We just love you. You're fabulous. And good morning, Seaside. Woo, what a joy. Hey, I'm waving at you. Are you looking for someone to join you? Or anyway, hey, I'm glad you're here. Hey, welcome to Seaside. It is a thriving spiritual community that is inspiring us to live our divinity. How's it working? Yeah, that's good. Well, I'll tell you, one of the keys for it working is that we always put spirit first. And today we have a powerful practitioner, one who has this mega consciousness. And this is Katie Boggio, and she is she is a practitioner emeritus. For 20 years you've been emeritus, right?
32.
32 years, man. That's like a long time. Almost as long as I've been a minister. Yeah? But anyway, worked for 20 years in the World Ministry of Prayer, which means she prayed every day, 8 to 10 hours a day for 20 years. And so if you're looking for prayer, all the practitioners at the end of the service today line up and they're ready to deliver prayer. So, it's time to go practitioner shopping, and I'd go say, check her out. So definitely one I call when I need prayer. But anyway, you're holding the light. And the light is a symbol of lighting, becoming aware of the possibility of light that is always there. And we light the candle, and it sits in our prayer center with a practitioner throughout the service. And Katie's responsibility is just be a conduit for that spirit to flow. She's not listening to what I say. But yeah, right. But she is a conduit, and just is a place where spirit is emanating free. So that's the symbolism behind lighting the light and having her carry it forward. So it has been lit, And I'll just escort you down the stairs if you want. Do you know at 89, she has just incorporated a new business? I'm going to have you give us a testimony. You know, some people are thinking of quitting at 89. She just incorporated. It's like, it's crazy. But I mean, I guess that's what happens when you've been doing that for so long. Anyway, I just, once again, welcome to Seaside. It is a community that cares and loves and supports one another on our spiritual path. It is a place where we can stumble and get picked up, and truly the blessings and the grace of God are upon this moment. And so I invite you to open your heart and your soul and feel that presence, and then stand and say hello to the person who's next to you, knowing they're feeling that presence as well.
Congregational song. We've done this one before. It's a little bit of a call and a response. You can sing with me, but definitely sing I Choose Joy. Ready? When the walls come tumbling down, I choose joy. When the world stops spinning around, I choose joy. When my heart won't seem to move, when my music's lost its groove.
It is. Hey, you're back. I thought you were on a cruise. That's why you couldn't do the Grammys tonight with Sheila. You were supposed to do it.
Well, it's a little long story.
But they flew you out of the Caribbean so you could be back.
Caribbean so that I could be there in hopes. It was a hope and a prayer.
Uh-huh.
Now, I won't be able to do the actual Grammys, which are today, by the way. But they are doing a tribute to Prince. You know, Sheila E. played drums for, as we know, for Prince.
Like Purple Rain.
And Purple Rain and Sign of the Times tour. And so she is actually MDing, musical directing the Prince tribute by the Grammys. So I'm doing that, and that's filming on Tuesday. It's going to air in April for his birthday.
Oh, so how fun.
I'll keep you posted on that. I'm super excited.
Yeah, you should be. That's good. How fun.
We'll talk.
Okay, well, then I don't have to watch the Grammys tonight if you're not on it.
You'll see Sheila, and you'll see some of the...
I was thinking, man, that's where Rebecca should be. Oh, well.
Next time.
Okay, next time. Okay.
Maybe win an award or something, but no big deal.
That's
no
it.
Big deal.
So, that is a big deal. We'll hold that for you. I know it's so.
Hey, I received that.
Okay, that's yours. It's yours. We got to remember to mention Seaside, though.
Absolutely.
When you get it. Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll hold you to it. Oh, how fun. Hey, you know what? We do Spirit in a fun kind of way. There's enough seriousness and heaviness out there. And Spirit is about just enlivening us and being able to walk through this world with a laughter and a joy and ease, a grace. And that's how I choose to do Spirit because, there's enough times where you got to get heavy with it. But most of the time, you're at choice on how to be in your world. So one of the choices we used to tell people, put your phones away at this point, but now we tell you, take them out and check in. So pull out your phone, check in, let your friends know that you're hanging out at Seaside. Feel free to take pictures. Yes?
Can I say one thing about that? You know there is a Seaside Spiritual Living page on Facebook, and right now we're actually streaming live, so what would help is if you share that.
Great.
I just did, so that way everybody, all your friends can see the video and be part of our service this morning.
Well, I'm glad you explained that because I'm not very techie.
I'm here to help
I just ask you guys to do it.
I'm here to help. That's what I'm doing.
It's teamwork. It's
Anyway,
co-creation. Carry on. I'm done. You guys carry on. You've been inspired and taught. And so go ahead and do that. But I'm going back to the God stuff because that's what I know. And we have got a wonderful prayer here. Used to say practitioner, which she had always been. But she is reawakening her ministerial license that has been on a retired status and is in the process of the home office having that Rebecca enlivened once again. So take us to that deeper place. Rebecca Berry.
I have my ruby slippers on. Join with me in a moment of silence. As we come together in a consciousness of love and healing, knowing there is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it, the same power that holds the sun, the stars, and the universe in place is in each and every one of us. And this power and love and intelligence flows through me, permeating every particle of my being, bringing every area of my life into wholeness. I am whole, complete, and perfect. I am perfect love. And I see that perfect love in every person I meet, and they respond with love. I bestow loveliness on everyone and everything. There is so much love within my heart. It wells out in all directions, blessing and touching and healing. This love keeps welling up, now covering the entire room. It now covers Encinitas, welling up, covering the United States, covering the entire planet. If there is anyone who needs my love, they accept it now. All minds are one. I am unique and special. There has never been anyone ever born quite like me that can do the things I can do like I can do them. I love and accept myself exactly the way I am right now, for I am like the most beautiful flower, which is perfectly beautiful at every stage of unfoldment. My heart's desires are God's desires for my life. And as I bring the request to the altar, God always says yes, and even better and greater. I am here by a divine assignment today. I give freely, knowing that which I give out comes back to me multiplied. I accept and acknowledge and receive the divine wisdom which is revealed through Dr. Christian today. I remember who I really am and what I'm really doing here, and that with God, all things are possible.
Breathe in, let the power of love fulfill you. Breathe out, let the troubles of life be gone. Release all the worries you have for tomorrow. Look within. Let's begin as one. Breathe in. Let the power of love fulfill you. Breathe out. Let the troubles of life be gone. Release all the worries you have for tomorrow. Look within. Let's begin as one.
Thank you, Rebecca, for grounding us so beautifully in prayer. And Reverend Rebecca, thank you for your prayer. Oh, what an honor it is to be here with you this morning. I'm Reverend Debbie McDonald, and it's my joy to be with you here today. I want to welcome anybody who is here for the first time. Well, I want to welcome all of you, but especially I want to welcome anybody who is for the first time today. Please know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you're welcome here. We honor all paths to God. No matter where you've been, what you've done, what you haven't done, what you've earned, what you haven't earned, you're welcome here. We see you and we love you. And we have a visitor's package for you, or a first-time visitor, a welcome package, and it's at the table as you come through the glass doors. In it, there's a little information about who we are, Seaside Center for Spiritual Living, a little bit information about religious science in general. There's a basic belief CD and some coupons and things. So pick one up, but mostly stay afterwards and let us get to know you. Have some coffee and some of those good donuts we got out there, and stay and visit with us. Let us get to know who you are. This morning we have a special thing going on. We have it's our annual meeting today after second service, so stick around for that if you're interested in the business of Seaside. But what we also do this time of year is we honor our volunteers. We honor those that have come out and hung around here and say, yes, sign me up. And we have a David Beardsley Volunteer of the Year Award that we give out every year. You know, I started here at Seaside volunteering. One Sunday they had a thing in the program and said, would you like to come and help do blah, 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 and you check the boxes. And my first job was to clean out Dr. Christian's closet in his office. I never finished that job. I want to let you know, I never did finish that job. But I started coming, you know, and what I loved was I loved the vibe. You know, I was seeking to just be around this joy and this love and this God stuff that was happening here. So while my kids were in school, I would come and I'd do some hours during the day, and it fed me. And now I'm a minister, so there you go. You never know what'll happen if you start volunteering. But we have two special volunteers that we want to honor today. Two individuals who, not just this year, but in previous years, have said yes, who have shown up, who have said, count me in, let me take the charge of that, let me do this, let me create that, you know, and they get on fire and they start doing more and more and more. And we couldn't just pick one this year, we picked two. We have two wonderful people who, in the short time I've been here, I see most days here at Seaside. They pop in, they do this, they do that, they're always in communication. What do you need? What can I do? Those two people that we will honor this year are James Kaplan and Susan Sully. Susan Sullivan Sully, stand up and come on up. We have some awards for you. You are both amazing. Susan is our volunteer coordinator, so if you want to volunteer, she's the girl to see. That's just one of her many hats. James is just volunteer extraordinaire. Thank you. They're okay. Real quick.
As a volunteer coordinator, I know that there's so many of you out there that have volunteered. So everybody who's volunteered, you guys should stay standing. So we can give you a...
Yes, that's a great idea. Let's see. Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you all. We also have their names on the plaque, which hangs in our hall with all of our volunteers. Thank you so much. Yeah, it really does take a village. We can't do it without our volunteers. We just simply can't. There's so many opportunities to do a little bit or to do a lot, whatever it is that you're interested in. So it's the time of year that most of our religious science churches, or many of them, do what we call back to the basics, where we look at those first couple chapters of our Science of Mind textbook. And Dr. Christian's going to be talking about that today. And my reading is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I'm reading from this book by Joseph Murphy. Titled, What Do You Believe? It is not the thing believed in that brings an answer to man's prayer. The answer to prayer results when the individual's subconscious mind responds to the mental picture or thought in his mind. This law of belief is operating in all religions of the world, and it is the reason why they are psychologically true. The Buddhists, the Christians, the Muslims, and the Hebrews all make it answers to their prayers. Not because of the particular creed, religion, affiliation, ritual, ceremony, formula, liturgy, incantation, sacrifices, or offerings, but solely because of belief or mental acceptance and receptivity about that for which they pray. The law of life is the law of belief. The law of life is the law of belief. And belief can be summed up briefly as a thought in your mind. As a man thinks, feels, and believes, so is the condition of his mind, body, and circumstances. A technique, a methodology based on an understanding of what you are doing and why you are doing it, will help you to bring about a subconscious embodiment of all the good things of life. Essentially, answered prayer is the realization of your heart's desire. And so it is.
All right. Good word this morning, already getting us started. Good morning, Seaside. Well, it is my honor, as it is every Sunday, to introduce our guest artist. And today is somebody that's very special. It's his first time here, but I love Reverend Christian's been so open to, having kind of different things happen here. And so my dear friend is actually not only have we worked together for a number of years, he's a phenomenal lyricist, prolific writer, and so he's going to do 2 spoken word pieces for us this morning. And why he's so special to me, though, is if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have the 3 CDs that have my name on it. He wrote the lyrics for all 3 of the records that we've done together. So we'll have those after the service. But yeah, so like I said, Al's been just so wonderful to work with and so inspiring. And his words are very deep, and so if you haven't experienced spoken word before, be open to it. It's a flow of words. And so you just be keen to it and listen and just open your heart and your mind and your ears and just kind of get in. But it's a vibe. You're going to hopefully enjoy it. And he wanted me to preface that he doesn't do this on the record, so you don't have to worry about hearing his voice on our records together. Sorry. Anyway, let's please give a warm Seaside welcome to my dear friend, Alfred Howard.
Thank you. Artists existing before their times exist all times, resist all times, paint their time with most descript lines, climbing the vine to the divine, and the vine is the spine, and the mind is divine. With the power to wind time in any which way, to switch any such day from right to black. From Jack Kerouac's abstract tales of absurd words, the voice mimics Charlie Bird's saxophone poem. Mr. Parker in the darker bars than night, playing light, improvising and rising like the sapphire sun. It was Jim Morris' son who spoke to me once. I was 13, trying to dream while the record was skipping. A question was tripping over a sentence, inquiring existence. If my life was a movie, would it be intense? Would there be enough to see? Would the plot make any sense? Would the footage be rough? Did I ever know love? Did I move fast enough to keep off the dust and fend off the rust? It's a must that I place my trust in my muse, the music I choose to use in congruence with all possible influence. Fluidly the wind whispers through the trees the philosophies of Saul, Rumi, and Socrates. In candlelight I read Hafiz, where poetry meets prophecy, and we permeate parables, cosmic creations, and mentally malleable infinite translations to serenade the soul's extensive sensations. The fact behind fables sit down at the table to converse the empirical. The guests are the best to stretch the status quo. Georgia O'Keeffe, the True Thief, Karis One, Toni Morrison, as well as Jim, Bob Dylan, Rakim, Joplin, Clapton, Led Zeppelin, Tom Robinson, Howard Zinn, Sid Barrett, John Lennon, me and Prism, Blaffen, Beethoven, and Mozart, the abstract art of Frida Kahlo, Pablo Picasso, and Company Flow, Arthur and Bonery, David Thoreau, Thelonious Monk, Harmonious Punk, Gibran's Prophet, Kurt Cobain, John Coltrane, Zakir Hussain, left permanent imprints on my brain. Peripheralness, peripheral vision, Jane's Addiction, White Light reflecting in a prism, Hunter S. Thompson, Robert Johnson's Blues, Langston Hughes, Radiohead, Gangstar, The Grateful Dead, Black Star, Most Def, Quali, Burning Spirit through the years, and Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, and Nina Simone, Ralph Nader, and A.C. Alone, Gil Scott Heron, The Last Poets, Last Poems, Jimmy Cliff, Jimmy Smith, Wes Montgomery, Dizzy Gillespie, Mahatma Gandhi, J. Pease, James Brown, Jeff Buckley, Art Blakey, Eric Dolphy, Cannonball Adderley, Rumi Fela, and Femi Kuti, Rashid Ali, Bob Marley, Mike Ladd, Michael Jackson, Before Bad, Toots and the Maytals, The Roots, and John Mayall, Ginsberg, Spielberg, Stevie Wonder, Mingus, Mayfield, Lightning, Thunder, Erykah Badu, Black Sabbath, The Who, Miles, John Lee Hooker, Booker T, and the MGs, Muhammad Ali, Plaster Man, Pearl Jam, DJ, Sonny Rollins, Muhammad Air, Chick Corea, Al Green. Pink Floyd welcomed me to this machine that I currently rage against. And I sit here awaiting tomorrow's dreams, and I wait with great suspense. And I pray one day that a light will beam and we will climb the fence and embrace a change that's so extreme, a peaceful existence. Embrace a change that's so extreme, a peaceful existence. Embrace a change that's so extreme, a peaceful existence.
That is Alfred Howard. Woo! And you guys think I talk fast? Man, that is just, wow. It's just amazing how many people we know. And that he could get them all in there. It's just, that was Alfred Howard giving us a little spoken word. And I sure appreciate Rebecca, just bringing in some unique expressions. It is truly great. So here we are. The way it works is part of the basics in which I'm speaking on. Last week, I spoke about the introduction to the science of mind, and that is a book that was written by a man by the name of Ernest Holmes. And Ernest Holmes is the founder of this philosophy called religious science. And the teaching of religious science is called Science of the Mind, and the name of the organization is called Centers for Spiritual Living. But the Science of Mind is become our textbook, and it is a pretty thick book written over 90 years ago. And there's these introductory chapters, kind of like the abridged version. And last week, the first chapter was about the thing itself, that is God. And that's what we spoke on. And then it goes the way it works, and what it does is what it is today, and how to use it. And so we're going to take a look at that, and I want us to understand that Ernest Holmes, he said that this wasn't a great revelation solely to him, but rather it's a compilation, this philosophy, of that common thread of truth that seemed to weave itself through the great religions and the philosophies. It wasn't as if he was, hit by a bolt of lightning or went behind the veil and was given tablets or anything. It was as if he brought his mind to the words that are out there, and he dropped all the dogmas and the creeds and the rules. And you know what? There seems to be this thread of universal spiritual truths, that God is infinite, and that there is a responsiveness. Jesus said, "It's done unto you as you believe." We call it the law. law. We call it the principle. I mean, that is, what it does. This is the way it works, and this is what we're working on coming to understand. And so in this chapter on the what it does and the way it works, the chapter ends with this great line. It says, how much of this infinite good is ours? And in big, bold letters, he says, all of it. And how much of this is ours to use? And he said, as much as we can embody. And I just love that word embody. And one of the reasons I love it is because that was one of my first assignments that was given to me in my classes in Science of Mind 1. I was 16 years old, and I was sitting through 30 weeks of 2 hours of lecture each week. The minister would start at 7 o'clock, lecture for an hour, stop for a break, and then come back and lecture for another hour, and went on for 30 weeks to do it. And the only assignment I really remember is the first one, which said, write a paragraph on embody. It's like, wow. So your assignment, you don't have to write it because that's too many for me to read. But I encourage you to sit with that word embody and feel it and sense it. And what does it mean to have it in your body, to feel it, to be it at the cellular level? That is the belief. That is what activates this responding, reciprocating principle, is that when it is embodied, it is known, it is felt, it begins to show up in our life. That is powerful, but you've got to be with it. And I love this line from Joel Goldsmith, who said, we are unreasonably busy to be frequently the within. We are so unreasonably busy that we are unable to frequent the within. You got what that's saying? We are unreasonably busy doing this thing called life. We are so caught up in the busyness of our day, going to work, making things happen, getting home at the end of the day, exhausted, having some food, watching maybe a little Netflix, and then waking up and doing it again tomorrow. And then the next day, there's no wonder we're too tired on the weekend to do deeper spiritual work. At the end of the week or end of the month or end of the year, we are tiring ourselves. We are unreasonably busy to be frequently the within. And whose fault is that? Not society, though they may be pumping you with fear. We're controlled by fear, and talk about exhausting yourself, having your adrenals fire off with fear and concern and worry and anxiety. It's like, of course you're too tired to frequent the within. The way it works is what you are embodying. Are you embodying the fear or your unlimited potential? Yeah, one of you. Oh, yeah. All right, yes, one's better than none, right? It's a start. It takes one candle to get it all going, for sure. But, I mean, what it's about is having that connection ourselves. The mystical is about experiencing the presence of God. The mystical is not giving the power away to a preacher or a teacher or a guru or a prophet or a saint or a minister or an organization or something, avatar, or, there's too often people are giving their time or their energy, their mind away to something that is outside. If there is an organization that is telling you, follow me, I'm the one with the only answer, I encourage you, run the other way. That is not what this is about. What this is about is coming to recognize the power of who you are. And a cult is giving your power away to a person, or it's giving your power away to an organization, or it's giving your power away to an avatar or something or a master or somebody outside. Here, take it. What the New Thought philosophy is about, and the way it works, is it's through you, through your embodiment. If they are not turning you on inside of yourself so you find that time to frequent the within and to feel the power and the presence, then I encourage you to begin looking elsewhere, because I assure you what this philosophy is about awakening that genius, that infinite, that created you, that is your spiritual DNA, that is the truth of your being, that is the Christ expression of who you are, and that it's not out there somewhere. It is within you. But you have got to frequent the within so you come to know that and you come to feel that and recognize that you are a child of God. You are the child of God. Yeah, you're welcome. It's easy for me to see from here. But that is the truth of our being. And as you begin to do your work, you feel it, you sense it. And it may not be in an audible sound, though it may be. But you have, and it may not even be grand visions, though it might be. But it is about feeling and sensing and knowing and taking the time Because how to use it is you've got to use it, and there is a responsiveness to what it is you embody. There is a law that says yes to the level of your belief. And these great names that Alfred was sharing with us that rattled off, I can't even count how many there were. These were geniuses who recognized there was something inside of them, and all the great artists and science and the math and the religions and the philosophies and the music and the literature. It comes from the creative genius of your being. It comes from frequenting the within, so you become that place. This is what it does. It has to have an outlet. Otherwise, it is unexpressed. God's infinite. It is everything, but it's just hanging out in the potentiality of it all. You are needed for the infinite to take form, and you get to, through your embodiment, decide how it's going to show up. So stop giving your power away to the manipulators of headlines with fear and begin to recognize that this world is actually better than I thought. Look at their possibilities in this world that are far greater than what I am being mass fed, but I've got to go within. I've got to go to that inner place and begin to feel and sense and know that there's something more, because it is the unillumined who are unaware of having a recourse of turning within and feeling something that is greater than the verdict that has been put before them. But what's happened? People are too tired. Oh, I tried. I just couldn't do it. You realize the word tried has the same letters in it as tired? Stop thinking of that. T-I-R-E-D, tired, or tried. T-R-I-E-D, they're the same amount. And, if you're too tired and you have tried, the thing you've got to do, kind of counterproductive here. You got to try less. You got to, surrender. You ever, try to think of something and it's on the tip of your tongue? It happens to me every Sunday. And it's I could only get that out. And what I've come to discover, which you've already known, is that the harder you try to get, the farther you push it back. But the more you surrender, you try not as hard, you let go, you create space, you frequent the within, really quick, come on, God, give it to me. It's boom, it comes and it shows up. That is what we've got to do. You go back to the basics when you can't figure things out. And I found this one that we all grew up with, though some of you were born after some of us. But Star Wars, remember in the 70s, this profound cultural revelation about the Force. So I'm going back to one of the original scenes I probably haven't read in a decade or two, but it's the classic. It's, and I didn't even need glasses the first time I read it, but... God in action. It's all. Anyway, so it's that scene where, Luke is down in the bogs with Yoda and their spaceship had crashed. And so here's Luke saying, well, we're never going to get out of this. Now, Yoda says, always with you, it cannot be done. Hear you nothing that I say? Luke says, Master, moving stones around is one thing, but this is totally different. Yoda, no different, only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned. All right, I'll give it a try. Yoda, no, try not. You do or you do not. There is no try. So Luke concentrates, and he begins to raise the ship, and then it falls. Luke says, I can't, it's too big. Yoda, size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you? No. And well, you should not. My ally is the Force. And it's a powerful ally, it is. For life greets it, makes it flow. Its energy surrounds us, binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crud of leather. But you must feel the Force around you, in you, between you, me, the trees, the rocks, everywhere. Yes, even the creek and the land and the ship. Luke says, but you want the impossible. And Yoda extends his hands and begins to levitate the ship. Luke watches in amazement as the ship is carried across the bog and gently set on the sides. And Luke says, I don't believe it. And Yoda says, and that's why you failed. Spirit can give us only what it can take. It's shouting out at us from every angle and says, the infinite good is yours, but only what you can embody, only what you can believe. If you say it's impossible, it's working by saying, yeah, it's impossible. It needs an outlet, and you are that outlet. But what has happened is we have allowed this schism or this sense of separation to come on in. We have taken on the responsibilities of this world thinking that, people sell themselves out. They spend their days doing what it is they don't like so they can earn a living to pay to live somewhere they don't even want to live. Well, I've got to be responsible. Yeah, you got to be responsible. To thy own self be true. It is not right that you would be working, doing what you don't want, living where you don't want, being with who you don't want, just because you got to pay back that student loan. Yeah. You're always at choice, and yes, you are responsible. I don't want to say shirk those responsibilities, but there's people who are selling their souls just to be able to pay the rent, be responsible, take care of the family, and so they live in an area and do what it is, and the days, and the end of the week, they're exhausted. The end of the month, they're tired. The end of the year, another year just went by, and now we're at 2020. It's like, you got to decide. You can do what it is you love, but you have to know that it's possible. See, the way it works is it says, yeah, you embody that. And how to use it is you've got to set the intention. You've got to set the vision that is there. But people are tending to live their life with management of emergency. Emergency management, emergency, I don't know. They got emergencies, and that's how they live their life. They go into work, and now they got to put out this fire. They got to deal with the most squeaky wheel, and they got to deal with this stuff. What you want to do is set vision. What you want to do is set intention. What you want, this is how you use it, is you begin to speak your word into this vibration, into this state of being, and it begins to move forward in your life. And it's right here. You've got to frequent within so you know where it's coming from. Not what the doctor said, or not what the parents taught you, or not what you had set yourself on a path initially. If you realize it's not for you and it's not working, you've got to listen. You've got to frequent within and say, what kind of new intention or vision do I want to re-empower or cast in you? This is how you use it, because there is a corresponding law or principle that responds. It's done unto you as you believe. This is how you use it. And what it does is it responds. That's the way it works. It shows up in your life through your intentions, through your actions, and through who you are. You are the one who gets to decide, okay, this is what I'm casting. There was Betty was her name. And Betty went through a very traumatic health issue in her life and didn't know if she was going to live. And when she lived, everything was good. Everything was bright. Recast her intentions and that which is highest and best. She chose to use this, that she was going to celebrate life. She was going to trust life. She came through this thing that didn't look pretty good. Her faith was lifted to a new level, and she tended to live her life that way. And one day she picked up this young hitchhiker driving home, and he shared his story that a few days earlier he had left his wife in a huff. They had gotten into this argument, and now he was going home to apologize, to make amends. And she said, this is as far as I'm going. This is where I live, but I'll tell you what, I'll lend you my car. Nice, fancy car. And said, here are the keys. And he said, I'll be back, this afternoon, in a few hours, I'll bring it back. And so here it is. She's sitting at home. Afternoon passes into evening. It's getting later in the evening, and she starts to wonder, did I do the right thing? And then all of a sudden, there's a knock on the door. And she opens the door, and who's standing at that door is the guy and his wife. And they just said, thank you so much that we have made amends and that we're committed to going it together all the way. Thank you for that. You never know how your faith and trust in the goodness of life is going to outpicture. But you have to have the faith to allow your actions to be that. You can speak the word, but how does it respond? Ernest Holmes, he writes in his book, The Science of Mind, from this chapter we're working on how to use it. He's talking about treatment here on how to use it. And treatment's our style of prayer. Treatment is our word for prayer. One goes to a physical practitioner for a medical or physical treatment. Well, one goes to a spiritual practitioner. We operate in the realm of mind, so you go to a spiritual practitioner for a spiritual mind treatment. And so one goes to a spiritual practitioner, and they receive the prayer. And the practitioners are those that have been taught in this wonderful art of prayer. They've been taught a specific style of prayer. And let me share with you what Ernest says a treatment is. A treatment is a spiritual entity in the mental world, and it's equipped with the power and the volition, as much power and volition as there is faith in it. Right? Kind of like the Betty who gave her card. That's faith. That's practicing. That's trust. You know, you can say, I got it, but what do your actions say? So there's as much power and volition as there is faith in it, given to it by the mind of the one who is using it and operating through a law. See, the law is what responds. The practitioners who practice that presence, they're the ones who have been trained in knowing how to use it, though this is what we teach all of us, to be practicers of this presence. And so it operates through a law. It knows exactly how to work and what methods to use and just how to use them. We do not put the power into the word, but we do let the power of the law flow through it. It's like a river moving. You know, we don't put power into that, but we let it move in the direction we want. So we don't put the power into the word, but we do let the power of the law flow through it. And the one who most completely believes in the power will produce the best results. This is the law of cause and effect. So that is treatment. And you know, we have a particular style of prayer or treatment. And it's not the only way to pray. And are all prayers treatments? No. But all treatments are prayers. And the reason not all prayers are treatments is because we have a particular style. Our style is not begging, wheeling, and dealing as if I got something God has. But how we use it is we begin to step into that place that allows that power, as we're talking about, to flow. It's not our power. There is a power. It is an infinite power. It's not our power. We're the channel. We're the conduit through which it takes form. And so the first step to do is to recognize it. We have 5 steps to our prayer. This is why we call it a scientific prayer, because it's teachable. There's 5 steps, and the first one is recognizing spirit. Kind of makes sense. You know, all begins God, that infinite, that all-knowing, the inexhaustible, the unlimited, the life itself, the first cause, the absolute. First thing we do is recognize that, and if it is everything, right, all religions, see, that's one of those spiritual principles. God is infinite. They all seem to say that. Then, logically, I'm of that, which is the second step. I begin to consciously recognize that I am one with it. It's called unification. I feel my oneness. I know that I am that which I just recognize. If Spirit's everything, then I'm that. I'm not all of it. But I recognize and I become one with that. And the third step, which is really the meat of our prayer, is called realization. We realize the spiritual truth from the God perspective. Okay? We got a human condition going on. This is the physical fact. But if God's all there is and I'm one with that, then I'm speaking from that place of connectedness, the spiritual truth of the situation. If God spoke it, good. Yes? Okay. So if you got what you wanted, how would you feel? Yeah, it's like, Christmas morning or Hanukkah evening. It's like, goodies, I got what I had hoped for. Of course, the fourth step is gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not thank you to anything outside, because there's nothing outside. It's a sense of gratitude. It's a sense of appreciation. This is how it works. As I live in a sense of grace and appreciation and thanksgiving, it's because it's done. That would be natural. And the last step then is you let it go. That's the way it works. You just, I'm done with it. It's over. Boom. You plant a tree or something, you don't dig it up to see if it keeps growing. You let it grow. You release it. You let it go. That's the last step of our prayer. We plant this God thought, this God seed in the divine soil that responds at the level of our belief. That is how it works. And what it does is it fills the embodiment, which is what we have right there. And as soon as we got it, it's done. Ernest Holmes says there's not a process in healing, because it's all been given. The wholeness is, the spiritual truth already is. There's not a process in healing, but there's a process of healing, right? There is a process in which it unfolds so perfectly. And let's say the tree that we planted, it's going to take some time for it to grow. See, there's a process in that. That the intelligence in that seed that was put there, it would know how to grow, but there's something inside of it that says grow, and it takes time. If a bone was broken, there is a process in the healing of that bone. The truth is right away, it's a perfect, whole, and complete, but it may take some time in this physical form. You speak your word, it may take some time to build up what it is. So there's not a process of healing, because the truth always is. There is a process in the healing that is going on. And as we begin to weather life, it's not always easy for the tree to grow. Yeah. or it's not always easy for us to move through our previous experiences or consciousness. There's a cute little story of a boy, it's summertime, getting ready to go back to school. He's with his grandpa. He says, "Grandpa, would you tell me how to be successful in life?" Grandpa said, "No, I won't tell you, but we'll do an experiment, and you pay attention, you can learn." And so they went to the backyard. They had a greenhouse. In the greenhouse were a couple tree saplings that needed to be planted. And so he took one out, went out to the corner of the backyard, and stuck it in the corner by the fence. He gave it appropriate, fertilizer. Said, "We'll make sure it gets enough water and the sun, will help it to grow." And then he had the last seedling in his hand, and he took it in the greenhouse. And they had this big pot, and they filled it with all this great fertilizer, and they put it in there, and they said, "We'll make sure it gets enough water, the perfect amount of water, and the grow lights are just ideal for the growth." And so they went ahead and began the experiment. And that kid, when he came back in the fall, he checked things out. And then in the winter, he was kind of shocked because that tree outside was just buried under the snow and was just bent over and crushed. And then in the spring, he saw the life starting to come back. And in the summertime, he was noticing the one outside was doing okay. The one inside was doing okay. But by the fall, they were growing. And by the next spring, that one that was outside was growing so much bigger and stronger than the one that was inside. He said, "Grandpa, I had no idea. I thought for sure the one inside would go better. It had, one outside I thought would die. I had to deal with the wind and the rain and the cold and the snow." And Grandpa said, "But that's exactly why it's doing better. It's because it had to deal with the elements and made it stronger. It brought out its gifts, its power." And in our life, if you want to experience the success, if you want to experience the healing, you've got to be willing to face some of the diversity or the challenges or the difficulties that arise within life. But you're the one who's got to say, "You know what? I can do it. I can do it." That's the time we fall back on your spiritual mind treatment and say, "Okay, the headlines that are going through my field of awareness is that this is not a good situation." That may be what's going on, but you know what? You have been given the wonderful tool of spiritual mind treatment. And I just yesterday got this wonderful story from Ash. Ash, she is a student in our school of ministry, and her husband, Reverend Cliff, he's the minister at the Burbank Church. He's the one who actually put this out on the minister's listserv yesterday. And he wrote here that my wife, that's Ash, my wife's brother was pronounced dead. And when brought back with life support system, he was brain dead. There was no activity at all. That was a Friday night. Sunday morning at our service, we asked everyone together to pray with him, for him, hold him in that space. And at that exact moment, the nurse reported the brain activity started. She called it a miracle, as they were sure he wasn't going to be able to last through the day. And by Wednesday, he left the hospital as if nothing happened. There are amazing stories. We had one of our practitioners share a story this morning. Someone's severe lung challenges and has been sent home and can breathe. There's other stories in this house. We share these stories on Wednesday night as we do this prayer and create this conscious intention together. It's as we take the fear out of the equation, as we begin to recognize that, you know what, as Yoda said, this is just a bag of leather that's housing our consciousness and our soul. And if something seems big and insurmountable, it is in my mind, it is not out there. It's up to us to lift that spacecraft out of the bog. It is up to us to take charge of our mind and our thinking and recognize, you know what, this is just one stopping place on our soul's evolution. And when you can get rid of the fear which controls us, I say, no. Fear controls us, and there's individuals who will manipulate you with fear, but you are the one who says, it is my mind, and you cannot do that, because my source is infinite, and the possibilities are inexhaustible. If brain dead, and there's a greater possibility, or if my ship is in the bog, or my lungs aren't working, there is a presence of God that is far greater, and if I am not afraid to die or transition, or call it what you will, then all of a sudden I am free. I'm now able to frequent within. I can't frequent within if the noise and the chatter in my head is too loud, if the noise is too loud, if I am too busy with all those things that aren't working. There is not an ability to frequent within. It is up to you to frequent within and discover the infinite, unlimited expanse of who you are. This is how you use it. You've got to take the time and recognize, you know what, I'm greater than this. I love this analogy that James Von Prague uses. As you heard, as you know, he's coming to Seaside. We sold out VIP tickets already, so if you want to come, you still can get good seats. I think they released maybe 10 others, but I don't know if the first service picked them up or not. But James Von Prague, the analogy I like so much that he uses in this book, and I don't know if we've sold out of these. I know we've been going through them, but what he talks about is the analogy of this being like a dive suit. We've been given this body with its cells, its lungs so it can breathe, its organs so it can function, the brain is a computer so it can operate, to be able to function in this vibration or this dimension or this state of being. And so he goes on to write about that, and he says that the diver doesn't spend their entire time underwater fretting when his oxygen's going to run out. Like, how much longer am I going to live? He knows that it's going to happen sooner or later. So they just enjoy the marveling at the sights that are below the surface. Isn't that the way it is, Brian? That's it. You're not worried that it's going to run out. You enjoy it while you're there. They may be having a great time or just come upon an interesting shipwreck, but when the clock goes off, it's time to go to the surface. There are no two ways about it. And it certainly doesn't mean that we can't go back down there later. It's just part of the experience. And when the diver surfaces, they may slap on a new tank and dive back in, or they might lie on the boat and contemplate the journey that they've just completed. Throughout history, humans have looked upon death as something to fear. It's a fear of the unknown. And it's because God is infinite wisdom has awakened our awareness to the reality that while we're in the depths of the ocean with a finite amount of oxygen, that we don't know what will happen when the tank runs out. We don't know that above the surface is the actual reality. That's our real home. Oh, we'll dive with many friends, and when their tank runs out, they have to go. We'll miss them, of course, but when our time is up, we'll see them on the top side. And the last thing our friends would want is for us to spend the rest of our time mourning their loss. You got that? When you leave this place, yeah, it just, this suit is what we've put on to operate here, and we've got all that is necessary to navigate in this realm with the ease and the grace, the oxygen, the ability to create, but all of a sudden, we get scared. Oh no, my air's going to run out. My time's going to run out. Yeah, it is. It is. But you know what? You're actually going back home. You're going back to where you came from, where your clan and your tribe already are. And, if they've left before, they don't want you to be miserable here. Oh, it's so sad. Yeah, it's sad. You're missing them. But a true sense of the immortality and the continuity of the soul robs that grief of a hopelessness. You know that while you're here, your job is to enjoy it to the fullest, not to be so busy with the noise in your head that has you in fear, because the way it works is how you use it, and how you're using it is to create the challenges. Get off of it and set something new in motion. Set a new vibration. Ernest Holmes, he writes that, we approach this law, these principles, not with an anxiety, but with an expectancy. Not with a coercion, but with a conviction. Not with a compulsion, but with a state of acceptance and belief. That's how we approach this. This is what we surrender to. We don't surrender to the practitioner who's praying. What we're doing is allowing ourselves to merge with our true identity, our true heritage, with the wholeness and the truth of our being, with the presence of God, with the beauty, with the love, with the wisdom, with that which created you. And you're beautiful. You're magnificent. You're a gift to us all. And it doesn't mean there aren't challenges. Gary Zukav said that, that you can't stop the summer or the winter storms or the spring or the fall from coming. They are gifts of the universe you cannot refuse, but you can decide how you're going to be and respond and interact with them. There's things that go on in our life. The storms may come, but they're here to make you stronger. What you do with your mind is how you use it. And what it does and the way it works is it responds to you at your absolute level of conviction. What vision are you holding? The ones that others have pumped into your mind with the fear and the concern or the false obligations? Or are you frequenting the within? People go looking for the sacred and holy mountain and holy shrine, and it's neither low here nor low there, for the kingdom of God is where? That's right. That's where it is. You've got to frequent with the within. And then you'll come to recognize that there is infinite good that is forever available. And how much of this good is ours to use? All of it. God bless you as you use all of it. I love you. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring Alfred back to our stage with a little bit more of that spoken word.
Captive audience, captured by the glow from the phantom rings of a lifeless phone. It's a napalm dawn and a bloodshot sky, and your favorite song's a broken lullaby. Give me open road, give me setting sun before I overdose on rhetoric and guns. I can't take the weight of another word, though I wait for you like a dream that's been deferred. Will you save me from all you can think of? Will you show me something strong as love? Maybe just distract me from all the print. When the headlines bleed, will you help me squint? I'm so tired of new dystopia, but I'm fired up, and I hope you just cool and calm me down. Tame my flaming crown, put this fire out, but don't let me drown. Take this all away, take this noise 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 away from me. History repeats like a lunatic, running through the streets, shouting at the bricks. And we pray for change, yet we act the same. Sit and watch and wait, lightning strikes again. So if this is it, if we're going down on a sinking ship with corroded crowns, will you hold me close, watch the sun catch fire, and remind me why it was worth a fight? Take this noise away, 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 take this noise away. Thank you so much.
That is Alfred Howard. Well, that was like the perfect spoken word. Take that noise away. Take the noise away. And that is what we're talking about, so you can frequent the within. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, well, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to join together in the sharing of our love and our support and our offerings and our gift. And as you give, it comes back. But it's not why you do it. You do it because this is the activity that Spirit's having as your life. This is the abundant consciousness made manifest. As you give, it comes back, and this is the wonderful law of circulation in action. It is an extension of your consciousness and your state of being. And as you support Spirit, you'll find Spirit supporting itself as your life. So with that, I want to invite our ushers to come forward as we take this gift from our heart and our soul. And I want to say thank you to those who mail in your contributions when you can't be here on a Sunday. It's greatly appreciated. Those of you at home that send in your support, thank you, thank you, thank you. We receive it. It's a big help. We've got a line item called live streaming. It's put back into the operations. And those who participate with the auto tithe, that regular systematic support that just regularly, whether it's once a week, once a month, once a year, that kind of regular expression allows us to plan just to operate with a greater sense of ease and grace. And so with that, I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this truly is a blessed moment where the divine pours forth through each and every one of us, purging out any of the fear and the concern, for as that Spirit moves, we begin to rise with that tide of recognition in that collective space, knowing that there is a power in the presence that is just available in this moment. And as each of us says yes to that expression of ever-expanding good, we're able to share from this sense, just as Betty knew about trusting that universe and the sharing of her car, just about those who got together in community and prayed for the wholeness and the healing that unfolded. I know right now that the wonderful emanation and the unfoldment of the presence of God has its way, and this, I am so grateful that each and every one of us are living with a greater sense of security, knowing our true source, a greater sense of peace, knowing that whatever it may be, the infinite is infinite, which means it is fully present right where I am in those good times or rough times. The God expression of abundant good is. In the isness and the allness of the divine, I share this gift knowing I am blessed, and it continues to bring blessings as it moves forward. So I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to be a wonderful expanding conduit of abundance, and so it is. Amen. Together, let us share this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as I life now. Those are your guys from Seaside. And so I stand before this bounty and I can feel the outpouring of the love and the caring and the compassion for the blessings and the grace of God is upon this moment. And each of us becomes part of that wonderful emanation of that divine vibration of expanding good. So grateful to be able to say yes to that heart's desire to support the emergence of Spirit's bright light in its expression as Seaside. I know the giver is blessed, the receiver truly is blessed, and this gift that has been given is handled in good stewardship and is put forth back into that river and that stream of life, bringing the blessings, the gifts, and the love and the light to all whom it comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to be able to share this love, and so it is. Amen. Hey, this is John, member of your board, and thank you. And we got an annual meeting today. Yes, John? Yes, yeah, 1 o'clock, right? I know we got to state a time. That's like the thing. So 1 o'clock. So anybody wants to be part of our annual meeting, 1 o'clock, that is the stated time. So those that go away can come back, be here at that time. But speaking of recognitions, Alfred, fabulous. Love that spoken word. What heart, what soul. And Rebecca, I'm so glad they flew you out of the Caribbean so you could be with us tonight. Forget the Grammys. It's all about Seaside. Coming home, special flight out. I love it. That is great. What else I love is having Reverend Debbie back on the stage with us. Truly a blessing and a gift. Great to have you home. And you've been thrown into the operations and finances, not thrown in, you have volunteered. And so the annual meeting today, and you get to share where we are. And my goodness, you've just been putting in a lot of time to make that happen for us. So thank you for that in advance. So welcome home. We've saved you a seat. So, and giving us sound today, Matthew, great job. Appreciate you. Giving us the visuals, Marv, way to go. And everyone, the men and the women on the cameras and in the editing room, thank you so much for sharing this. Not only do they get it in the back hall, but we've got it around the planet, and we have a whole virtual congregation that's in dialogue. Our practitioners handle that chat room, and it goes on. So feel free to attend that. While you're in service, I've got people typing away all the time. And I look, it's like, wow, you were here. But anyway, so that is available. Hey, there's a lot of good going on. Callie's class is starting. Just that wonderful feminine leadership and spirit to lead. She's done it the last 2 years. It is sold out both the time. She's doing it again this year. It's called Heart to Lead. It's for women only. There's only so many spots, and she's doing it 6 weeks instead of 4 weeks this year. It's a multimedia experience, and like I said, she sells out every time. So you can talk to her afterwards if you're interested in doing that. And let's see. Guys, how's it going? Yeah, should I talk to you? Or? Yeah, Ramon, and then you.
Hi.
Well, hello.
We made binoculars. Also, we were talking about kind and peace. That's all.
That's it. All right. Well, how beautiful. Thank you. Let's say together this affirmation, and that is, we see you, we love you, and we support you in your magnificence. Wow, that magnificence is what we see in you for sure. Also, in this time of recognition, I also big shout out to Susan Sullivan and James Campbell, you two volunteers of the year. Wonderful. James has been around here this whole month, just getting all the outside lights working at night. And so when I drive up at night or in the morning, the place is bright. It looks like the light never goes down on Seaside, so that's good. And Susan taking on volunteer coordinating, taking your joy and creating the space to share with others is wonderful. Not to mention VG Donuts back at Seaside. Now that's a religious experience if I've ever heard one. So. But what I want to do is, so today at the annual meeting, one of the things that happens, so any of the membership, I invite you to be here at 1 o'clock, is there's 2 members that step off the board and 2 more step on for a 3-year term. And so there's a total of 6 elected spots on the board, and they rotate 2 on and 2 off every year. And so today we're going to elect 2 new members going on. But what I want to do right now, and we'll introduce those to you next week and who the new president is and all those kinds of things. But what I want to really do is give us an opportunity to thank the 2 individuals that are stepping off the board this year. And I want to call them up onto the stage. And that is your board president, Tina Lazazo Ford, as well as Edwin Robinson. And I just want to honor these two for your wonderful guidance and leadership. I mean, Edwin was filling a seat, and when he took on a full term, so that was 4 years. And then after he stepped off, we had a vacant seat, and we said, why don't you just come back for a little bit longer? So it's almost been 5 years when you're really only supposed to be there 3. But you know what? We have loved you, have trusted you. You've brought the institutional memory forward. You have been a wonderful individual who's looked to the future as well as remembered the past. And just a little something for your desk, a token that just says thank you for all your years of service. You blessed us with that. So thank you. And for Tina, my goodness, who would have known we brought in an executive operational person who led, like the whole volunteer coordination for years and years for the San Diego Film Society, and that you have brought that expertise of working with members and volunteers and people, and your ability in marketing and putting people you have a #1 bestseller on the Amazon book list right now, and you brought that kind of consciousness to Seaside. You have led us with an iron gavel, and it takes a lot to hold us in line. We will get the spelling on your name correct on here.
It's bored now.
Board. So we can just drop the first part. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, we just want to say thank you so much for your love. And we add your name to the president plaque that has Edwin on there from last year, but yours will hang in the hall with us forever. So love you. And just say thank you for the love and the guidance that you get. Going off this year, we got Tina and Edwin. All right. And so the last Sunday of the month is our prayer wall Sunday. And so I'm going to invite our practitioners to join me up here in the front. And just come on forward. And I'm going to pray, and then we'll sing ourselves out. And Lori, I had you share a wonderful testimony at the first service. Run out of time here. Maybe next week we can get you in there. But talk to Lori at the Von Prague table. There you go. She shared a story of what it was like to be in the crowd last year with last time I was here with 700 people, and what it's like to be called out. And all of us went, wow, we know her. And so it just helps us to deepen our sense. But I invite all of us right here, right now, to just feel that presence, that life force, that divine that unfolds its expression through each and every one of us. For truly, this is a moment, a divine moment, where the presence of God emerges in ways that are magnificent and tremendous. It is the life force. It is the first pulse. It is the all-animating essence of life itself. For the presence of God expresses in each of our field of awareness, and this is the recognition part. I recognize the great expression that is God, that life force of all things. And I know that I am of that. I am one with that, which is the unification. See, this is the framework for our prayer. Recognize that infinite and know that I am one with that. I am spirit expressing. I know that right here in my field of awareness, I am able to know as God knows and see as spirit sees. And so I share these words from the divine realization, knowing that the spiritual truth in this moment is the divine realized in those moments of contention and concern. For that infinite presence emerges here through each and every one of us at this time. And so if there is anyone today that is experiencing anything less than the ease and the grace in their world, experiencing a place of constriction or an issue or challenge, know that that is the human experience, but there is something greater. That it is time to shake the snow off the trunk and emerge stronger and greater. For that divine presence awakens those that sleep. It raises spacecrafts out of bogs. It clears out lungs. It allows the living to become more enlivened and dynamic and expressive in this world. For with spirit, all things are possible. And so I choose to embody this statement. I choose to sit with this realization that all things are possible. And so I let go of that which has constricted my mind with fear and concern and worry and trepidation. I begin to allow something greater to emerge. I allow myself to frequent the within and recognize and realize that there's something more. That which is not of this world is seeking expression. That I and you are outlets of the infinite. And I know right now that the greater possibility finds expression as our life in the ways that are perfect. The body comes back into divine residence and perfect wholeness. Our life's expression, our creative expression becomes exciting and dynamic, that we find that creativity to fill our awareness with as many words as Alfred brought forth in those moments, so brief and yet full and pungent with the divine. For truly this spirit is moving here. Feel it and say yes to that. Say yes to that movement that is within. That's something that is seeking to bring forth the creative expression. It knows how to. See, our thing, what it does is it responds at the level of our embodiment, and I begin to embody that which is greater than I have ever before. Began to think was possible. I begin to expand my realm of possibilities and know that the infinite intelligence knows how to do it. There is a law that responds, and so I let go of my little mindedness and open up to the wonderful the affluent flow, the abundance, the finances, the creative expression, and the love that is within relationships, the honesty, the knowing those that I'm with are my laboratory in which I get to develop and bring forth in a vulnerable place the fullness of that which I am in ever greater kinds of ways. And I just say thank you. Thank you for this, recognizing that that kingdom is within and that I begin to frequent it with more regularity, letting go of that which has closed the doors. I begin to burst forth and say, God, here I am, and recognize that that I amness is not me, but thee. It is the presence that is the I amness of that which I am, that which you are. So I'm grateful. It is in this place that gratitude is felt. It's not felt to anyone or anything outside. That's occult. That's externalization. That is separation. I begin to live in a state of grace and appreciation, thanksgiving, knowing that the good is infinite and all of it is mine and yours to experience. And so as much of it as I can embody and know, and I say thank you for the understanding of the depth and significance of that. And I let go. I trust. I believe with an unshakable conviction and the divine right action that finds expression as my life here and now. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. So I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. You know the word, Seaside, come on. Beautiful. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yay.
And our affirmation for the week is Spirit expresses through me as me. Together, Spirit expresses through me as me. Touch your heart and say it again. Spirit expresses through me as me. One more time like it's your truth. Spirit expresses through me as me. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love. I'm living in peace. I'm living my life for what I believe, through joys and through fears in this world. are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. 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 Have a wonderful week, Seaside.
Absolutely. And hey, come on up, receive some prayer. Your practitioners are waiting on you. There are 10 of us.